Today, we will discover something that will change how you see everything. Not just the stars above your head, but the very fabric of reality itself. Close your eyes and listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it's a journey through infinity itself. My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez, and for 15 years, I was the lead theoretical physicist at the Kepler Deep Space Observatory. But I'm not here to bore you with credentials. I'm here because of what happened to me during the Infinity Incident of 2387, when I fell through something that shouldn't exist and lived to tell about it. This isn't just my story, it's the story of how I discovered that the universe is far stranger, far more beautiful, and far more connected than anyone ever imagined. It started on a Tuesday, like most impossible things do. I was alone in Observation Dome 7, monitoring the gravitational waves from a particularly massive black hole we designated Leviathan 9. The black hole itself was unremarkable, about 4 million times the mass of our sun, sitting quietly in the center of a distant galaxy. But something was wrong with the data. The gravitational waves weren't following the predicted patterns. They were singing. I know how that sounds. Gravitational waves don't sing, they ripple through space-time like waves on a cosmic pond. But these waves had a pattern, a rhythm that seemed almost intentional. I spent 3 weeks trying to find the error in my calculations, assuming I'd made a mistake somewhere. I hadn't. The waves really were singing, and they were singing in a frequency that matched the quantum signature of human consciousness. That's when I made the decision that would change everything. Instead of just observing Leviathan 9 from a safe distance, I took our experimental probe, the Nautilus, and flew it directly toward the black hole's event horizon. My colleagues thought I'd lost my mind. They were probably right, but sometimes madness and genius are just different ways of seeing the same impossible truth. The Nautilus was designed to withstand extreme gravitational forces, but nothing built by human hands was meant to survive what I was attempting. As I approached the black hole, time began to stretch and compress in ways that made my instruments useless. My onboard chronometer showed I'd been falling for 3 hours. My biological clock said it had been 3 minutes. Both were correct, and both were wrong. Here's where I need to tell you something important about black holes that most people don't understand. They're not cosmic vacuum cleaners sucking up everything in sight. They're more like cosmic waterfalls. Once you go over the edge, the event horizon, you can't come back. But it's not because you're being pulled apart. It's because space itself is falling faster than light can escape. Imagine trying to swim upstream in a river flowing faster than you can possibly swim. That's what trying to escape a black hole would be like. But here's what they don't tell you in textbooks. If you could survive crossing the event horizon, you wouldn't immediately notice anything different. The universe would look strange, distorted, and twisted like looking through a funhouse mirror, but you'd still be you, at least for a while. I was falling toward what scientists call the photon sphere, the point where light itself can orbit the black hole. That's when I saw the impossible. The gravitational waves weren't just singing, they were forming patterns, complex geometric shapes that seemed to pulse with purpose. They looked like doorways, hundreds of them, arranged in a perfect sphere around the black hole. Each one was slightly different, vibrating at a unique frequency. The Nautilus was being pulled toward one of these patterns, a particularly complex one that seemed to shift and change as I watched. My instruments were going haywire, showing readings that shouldn't exist. The gravitational force wasn't increasing smoothly as it should have. It was pulsing, almost like a heartbeat, and with each pulse, I felt something impossible. I was getting lighter, not heavier. That's when I understood something that would have earned me a Nobel Prize if I'd made it back to publish it. Black holes aren't just endpoints, they're beginnings too. The gravitational singularities at their centers aren't points of infinite density. They're bridges, connections between different parts of space-time that are too extreme for our normal physics to describe. The doorways I was seeing weren't illusions. They were real passages, but not to other places in our universe. They led to other universes entirely. The pattern I was being drawn toward was what I now call a reality interface, a place where the fundamental constants of physics are different. In our universe, gravity is relatively weak compared to other forces. But in the universe beyond that doorway, gravity might be 1,000,000,000 times stronger. Time might flow backward. Cause and effect might be reversed. The very nature of existence might be fundamentally alien to anything we can comprehend. As I crossed the photon sphere, something impossible happened. The Nautilus stopped falling. Not because I had activated any thrusters or found some way to counteract the black hole's gravity, but because gravity itself had changed its nature. In this region of extreme space-time curvature, the distinction between falling and floating ceased to exist. I was simultaneously moving at nearly the speed of light and standing perfectly still. The doorway, the reality interface, was now close enough to touch, though touch is the wrong word for something that exists in dimensions our bodies aren't designed to perceive. It looked like a sphere of pure mathematics, constantly shifting between different geometric forms. One moment it was a perfect dodecahedron, the next a Mobius strip, then something that hurt to look at because my brain couldn't process its shape. I reached out with the Nautilus's manipulator arm, not really expecting anything to happen. The moment the arm made contact with the interface, every atom in my body sang. Not metaphorically, literally. The quantum fields that make up my existence began vibrating in perfect harmony with the interface. I could feel the structure of reality itself, like touching the fabric that everything is woven from. What I learned in that moment would take lifetimes to explain properly, but I'll try to give you the essence of it. Our universe isn't alone. It's part of what I call the cosmic symphony, an infinite number of universes, each with its own fundamental properties, its own laws of physics, its own way of existing. And they're all connected, not through space, but through singularities. Every black hole in our universe is a doorway to another universe. Every black hole in those universes leads to yet another, its doorways all the way down, an infinite regression of realities. But here's the part that will help you sleep tonight. We're not insignificant in all this infinity. We're essential. Consciousness, your consciousness, my consciousness, isn't just a byproduct of complex chemistry. It's a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. The gravitational waves I detected weren't singing randomly. They were singing in response to consciousness, to the act of observation itself. The universe, in all its infinite vastness, is aware of being aware, and it wants to be understood. Every star that forms, every planet that orbits, every black hole that spins, they're all part of a vast cosmic mind trying to understand itself. You, lying there with your eyes closed, listening to this story, you're not separate from the cosmos. You're one of the ways the universe is experiencing itself. The interface began to pulse faster, and I realized I had a choice. I could pass through to whatever lay beyond, explore universes where the laws of physics were stranger than fiction, or I could return to my own universe to share what I'd learned. The choice seemed impossible. How could I turn my back on the greatest discovery in human history? But then I thought about you, about everyone who would never know what I'd found, about the weight of carrying this knowledge alone. I pulled back from the interface and immediately began to fall again. But now I understood the pattern of the gravitational waves, the song that reality sings. I could navigate by it, steer through the impossible geometry of extreme space-time curvature. The Nautilus wasn't just falling anymore, it was flying, riding the waves of distorted space like a surfer riding ocean waves. As I rose away from the black hole, time began to behave normally again. My instruments came back online, showing readings that made sense. But I was different. I could still feel the hum of the cosmic symphony, could still sense the infinite doorways that surround every black hole. And I could feel something else. The universe was singing to me, not through gravitational waves this time, but directly into my consciousness. The song told me things that I'm still trying to understand, about how size and scale are illusions, how something infinitely large can be contained within something infinitely small, about how every point in space touches every other point, how we're all connected across the vastness of the cosmos, about how love and gravity are different expressions of the same fundamental force, how consciousness and cosmic structure are woven from the same quantum threads. I made it back to the Kepler Observatory, though by the time I arrived, 15 years had passed. My colleagues had aged. I hadn't. Time near a black hole doesn't just slow down, it becomes negotiable, flexible, responsive to consciousness itself. They thought I'd been lost, assumed dead. They had questions I couldn't answer, not because I didn't want to, but because human language isn't built to contain the truths I'd learned. But I can try to share the most important thing, the thing that matters for you, lying there in the dark. The universe is infinite, yes, but not in the way you think. It's not just infinite in space, it's infinite in possibility, infinite in consciousness, infinite in love. Every star you see is a thought in a cosmic mind. Every planet is a dream being dreamed by the universe itself. And you're not just observing the cosmos. You're one of the ways the cosmos is observing itself. The black holes aren't just doorways to other universes. They're reminders that reality is deeper, stranger, and more wonderful than we can imagine. But they're also bridges, connections, ways for different parts of the infinite cosmos to touch and communicate. And somewhere, in some other universe, there's another version of you listening to another version of this story, thinking the same thoughts you're thinking now. Feel how small that makes you? Don't. Feel how connected that makes you. You're not separate from the infinite, you're part of it. The same quantum fields that stretch between galaxies are vibrating in your body right now. The same consciousness that looks out through my eyes is looking out through yours. We're all part of the same cosmic symphony, playing different notes in the same eternal song. As you drift off to sleep, let your mind expand outward. Feel yourself becoming as large as the cosmos, containing galaxies within your consciousness. Then feel yourself becoming as small as a quantum particle, containing entire universes within your atoms. Both are true. Both are you. The infinite isn't out there somewhere. It's in here, in the space between your thoughts, in the silence between heartbeats. The black holes are still singing their gravitational songs, still holding their doorways open, but they don't need to be feared. They're just reminders that reality is bigger than we think, that love is stronger than gravity, that consciousness is more fundamental than matter. Every night when you sleep, you pass through your own doorway, your own interface with the infinite. Every dream is a visit to another universe, another possibility, another way of being. So drift now, carried on waves of cosmic gravity, floating through the infinite doorways that surround us all. The universe is holding you in its gravitational embrace, singing you to sleep with the same song that binds galaxies together. You're not falling, you're flying, riding the cosmic waves through the infinite possibilities of existence. And somewhere, in the heart of every black hole, in the center of every star, in the space between every atom, the doorways remain open. Not to threaten us, but to remind us. We are the cosmos dreaming itself awake. We are the infinite experiencing itself in finite form. We are the universe, learning to love itself one consciousness at a time. Sleep now, wrapped in the gravitational embrace of infinity itself. Dream of doorways and cosmic symphonies. of universes within universes, of love that transcends space and time. Tomorrow, you'll wake up in the same world, but you'll carry the knowledge that you're not just in the universe, you are the universe, experiencing itself one beautiful moment at a time. The stars are singing their lullabies, the black holes are humming their bass notes, and somewhere in the vastness of space-time, I am too, still falling, still flying, still discovering that the greatest journey isn't through space, it's through consciousness itself. Good night, fellow traveler through infinity. May your dreams be as vast as the cosmos, and may you always remember, you are not alone in the infinite. You are the infinite, learning to dream itself to sleep.